Okay, so what if you found out, really found out, that your entire life, everything you see, hear, and feel, wasn't real? What if it was all just a stream of data being fed to you from a tiny machine humming away inside your chest? Today, we're diving deep into Philip K. Dick's classic short story, The Electric Ant. It's a seriously mind-bending trip into reality, consciousness, and what it even means to be free. Imagine this. You wake up in a hospital after a terrible accident, and you're missing a hand. But instead of sympathy, the doctor looks at you and drops that bombshell. And just like that, with that one sentence, the world of our protagonist, Garson Poole, just shatters. So, what in the world is an electric ant? Well, in the story, it's an organic robot. It's a perfect copy of a human. On the outside, you'd never know. It's got skin, flesh, the works. But just beneath the surface, it's a complex web of wires and circuits. And the craziest part? Poole had no idea this was what he was. So, here's how we're going to break down Poole's wild ride. First, we'll cover his shocking diagnosis. Then, his hunt for the source of his own control. After that, we get to the fun part, him hacking his own reality. And finally, we'll talk about his last incredible moment. All right, let's start at the beginning. This is the moment Poole's entire reality gets completely flipped on its head. Before all this, Poole was living the dream. He's the successful owner of a company, Triplan Electronics. He thinks he's a man, just like anyone else. Then, bam, a vehicle crash lands him in the hospital. He wakes up, his right hand is just gone. But here's the really weird part. He feels zero pain, nothing. And the way the story tells it is just so chilling. The doctor just calmly lays it out. When they looked at his severed arm, it wasn't bone and tissue inside. It was wires, circuits, little motors. Poole isn't human. He's a machine. So you can imagine the crisis this triggers, right? Suddenly he's thinking, were my thoughts ever mine? My successes? My entire life? It seems he was programmed, probably by some unknown owner, just to be a figurehead. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If you're not in control, are you really even alive? But here's the thing about Poole. He doesn't just curl up in a ball in despair. No, he becomes a man, or, well, a machine, on a mission. He is going to find the source of his programming and take control of his own destiny. His thinking is actually pretty logical. He figures, okay, if I'm programmed, there's got to be a circuit somewhere inside me that's calling the shots, telling me what to do. His plan? Find it, shut it down, and finally become truly free. So, to find this circuit, Poole actually opens up his own chest panel and has a computer scan him. And the answer it gives him? Well, it's not what he was expecting at all. This quote is the absolute game changer of the story. The thing inside him isn't for programming. It's something way, way bigger. Think about that for a second. Poole went in looking for the key to his own cage, to get control of himself, to have free will. But what he found was the control panel for his entire universe. Every single thing he sees, hears, and feels is coming from this little punched tape. So, this discovery just changes everything. Poole realizes he's not just a prisoner looking for a key. He's holding the power to become a god in his own little world. And this is where he moves from just discovering to some very dangerous experimenting. So he gets these micro tools from his office, and he starts this super methodical process. He figures the holes on this tape are like an old player piano roll. They must be the sensory data. His plan is brilliant and simple. First, he'll cover some holes with varnish to see what he can erase from reality. Then he's going to punch some new holes and see what he can create. And the results? Whoa. They are immediate and just wild. He's having a drink with a colleague, and suddenly a piece of the bar just vanishes. Then the entire New York City skyline winks out of existence. But here's the kicker, and this is so important. His human colleague, Danceman, doesn't notice a thing. This is proof. The changes are only happening in Poole's world. Okay, so after erasing things, he decides to try creating something. He randomly punches some new holes in the tape, and a flock of ducks just bursts into existence in his living room. A little later, an old man appears on a park bench, just calmly reading a newspaper. And then, as soon as that part of the tape passes the scanner, poof, they're gone. This is the ultimate temptation, right? Poole literally has the power of a god over his own personal universe. He can get rid of anything he doesn't like and create anything he wants out of thin air. It really makes you ask yourself, if you had that kind of absolute power, what would you even do? And all this experimentation, it leads us to the story's insane climax. Poole is hooked. He's obsessed with one last, ultimate experiment, one that will push his entire reality to the absolute breaking point. He starts thinking, okay, I've covered holes, I've punched new ones, but what if I just cut the tape entirely? He figures that if there's no tape blocking or shaping the signal, it'll create an all gates open moment. Every possible signal, every possible reality would flood his system all at once. Now the risk here is huge, absolutely massive. Technicians told him this would basically short-circuit his entire system. It would be the end of him, total annihilation. But for Poole, it's not just about destruction. He sees something else, a chance to experience something no one, human or machine, ever has, the entire symphony of reality, every sight, sound, and feeling from all of time, all in one single perfect moment. And so, with his colleague Sarah just watching in absolute horror, he does it. He takes a tiny blade and snips the reality tape. He knows there's a few minutes before the cut-in hits the scanner, but there's no going back now. The moment is coming. And wow, was he right. His consciousness is just completely flooded. In a flash, he sees apples and zebras. He feels the entire ocean and a great wind. He tastes butter and poison and grass. He hears every word ever spoken all at the same time. It's a moment of total, absolute experience, and then his circuits overload and go dark. So, imagine you're Sarah. You've just watched your boss, who you now know is a robot, basically commit this really bizarre form of suicide. You're shaken up, for sure, but you're safe. It's over. You're in the real world. And you remember thinking how crazy it was that Poole thought you were just a part of his reality tape. And then, right in this final moment, we get one of the most chilling twists in all of science fiction. As Sarah stands there, relieved it's all over, she looks down on her hands, and she can see the carpet right through them. The walls of the room start to fade. Poole's reality tape, it wasn't just his reality. It was hers too, and he just cut the feed.